Hi again everyone, welcome to the Bible Project. We've reached part 22 in our journey together through the book of Genesis. I'd remind you that the transcript of all our messages is available on the audio version of the podcast, which is available through your App Store or on the Buzzsprout website. So last time we saw that God also created women. And a bit like the father of the bride at a wedding, he presents the woman to Adam. He forms her out of his side, which is a very strong image of equality. And Adam, when he sees her, is literally beside himself with pleasure. That pun was intended, by the way. Okay, next verses, beginning at Genesis 2, 24 and 25. It says this: "This is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh. Adam and his wife were both naked, and they felt no shame." Remember, this account was written years later by Moses, and he's commenting on how this relationship should form a template for future relationships between men and women, illustrating it by the joining together of a man and a woman in a relationship called marriage. And verse 24 is laying down the template for marriage. I love the King James Version that describes what the man and the woman do as leaving and cleaving. Marriage is about leaving your family of birth and starting a new family together, and becoming one flesh refers to something much more than just physical. Becoming one psychologically, becoming one emotionally, and becoming one spiritually. The physical cohabitation, the joining together, is meant to just serve as a gateway into a deeper spiritual co-relationship. This is marriage, two people becoming one in outlook and goals. So right at the beginning, God defines marriage as a spiritual, social, and public contract between a man and a woman. They are to be totally and spiritually at one with each other, living together, in a sense, in a kind of paradise. You see, the naked condition of Adam and Eve is not just describing their physical appearance, but it also refers to the transparency that existed in this first marriage. They are open with each other. They have nothing to hide. They are at ease with each other as only people who are totally committing themselves to one another can be. Okay, we've looked at the various elements of this passage, and we've arrived at a point where there is a garden populated with a man and a woman who are to tend the garden and to trust God. I want to conclude now by making some observations and applications. And I asked at the start of this section a few days ago by asking, what is paradise? What for Adam and Eve were the elements of paradise? Well, think about what God gave to Adam. Quite simply, there was a garden, a tree, and a girl. For human beings, paradise can be no more than a safe place to live, a God you can serve, and a wife or a husband you can love. If you've got all these three things, then the Bible tells us we are literally in paradise. Paradise can be nothing more than work, worship, alongside the right wife or husband. For a woman, it can be a good relationship with God, a good relationship with her husband, and a safe place to live in. The rest, in a sense, is just icing on the cake. Widening the perspective, because not everyone is called to be married, this also tells us that for anyone, paradise is just about having a proper relationship with God and a proper relationship with other people, and meaningful employment or meaningful activities to fill your day. To have one of these areas out of balance will mean you are missing out on the blessing that God wants to experience in your life. The problem for some people is they look outside of these three areas in the search of a perfect life. Sadly, some people are inclined to look over the hedge and think that grass is greener on the other side of the fence. God has told us what paradise can be like, and he even put a hedge around it. All that we need to make life really worthwhile is a good relationship with the Lord, good relationship with other people, and meaningful activity in our life. Whatever activity you do, job or otherwise, you should be taking pride in doing it. You should be doing it in such a way that at some level it makes the world a better place. And an ability to do these things and have these things in their proper place and keep a balance in life. By doing it, you are subduing the world and bringing in a very small way chaos to order and bringing a little bit of God's paradise here onto this earth.
Okay everyone, that's it for this time. Now the place to go for all the links to this ministry and other ministries and podcasts that I do is the podcast notes section of this podcast on the Buzzsprout website. There you'll find links to the Facebook page, my YouTube channel, the sister podcast, the Living in Faith Everyday podcast, and also links even to my SoundCloud page where I create the background music and sound design for this podcast. And there's also, even if you're that way inclined, a place where you can support the podcast and the other ministries to the tune of £1 a month, which really helps with the funding and costs of doing this. But other than that, I really trust you've been blessed by our time together, and I hope to see you all here again very soon.